Hi guys, welcome to Olive's Tree. I'm Mandy, and I am going to show you how to make a 4 ingredient, literally 10-minute, no bowl, no mix, Easter slice. So if you're short on time and you need something yummy this year, stick around and watch this vlog. Okay, let's see what's happening down here. So I've got a tray and I've lined it with a bit of baking paper, parchment paper, whatever you like to call it. Just going to get some gloves because okay, so I've got a tray here and I've just popped a bit of parchment paper in the bottom, and I recycle my baking paper, parchment paper. If I've just had something, warming on it, or biscuits, and it's clean, I will use it again. There's no need to throw that away every time. Now, I said this slice was 4 ingredients. I really wasn't joking, and it is flat out. I've got strawberry jam, I've got chocolate melts, Scotch Guinness, and marshmallows, and we're going to make a Wagon Wheel slice. The oven is heating to about 170, no fan, and I'm just going to show you how this goes together. Now, here in Australia, we have always had a chocolate. What should you call it? Yeah, it is a chocolate. Well, it's a wagon wheel, and it's coated in chocolate. And it's biscuit with marshmallow and strawberry, raspberry. I think it's raspberry, but I bought strawberry by mistake, doesn't matter. And biscuit. So I'm going to show you how to replicate that in a super fast slice that you don't need to mix up. So the only dish is this tray, which you're lining with parchment. And I'm just going to get you where you can sort of see a little bit better. Let's get you over here a bit better, a bit closer. Because we want you to see what's going on. Okay. All right. So basically, we're lining a tray with a nice, plain, buttery, sturdy biscuit. And this is a little bit bigger tray than I normally use, so I am going to have to open the second packet, but that's okay. There's lots of people around at Easter that you can share this with and give this. Oh, I already have them here. Don't panic. Okay, so I do need a couple out of another packet. Normally I don't, but the tray that I normally make it in, it's had a bit of a misadventure. So they're upsizing slightly, and don't worry, these biscuits obviously won't go to waste. And they're just a Woolworths, home brand, nothing fancy, nothing, nothing flash. And just basically, look at that, perfect, perfect, perfect. They fit absolutely spot on in this tray that my mum Olive gave me. One of my favourites. And I use it all the time, and she reckoned she'd had it for probably 50 years. I don't know, it's amazing. All right, so now I just have some, I don't have any homemade jam at the moment. I have marmalade. I didn't want to use that, so I've got just not a fancy brand, but if you wanted to make this with a fancy brand of jam, you could use, I think it's called Bon Mamie. No, but I could be wrong. Cotties, SPC. There's lots of Berenberg, lots of really lovely jams that you could use, but I'm just using this. Oh, if we can get, we got the lid off. Okay. And all we have to do is just get some out. Not sure how much we'll need for this tray, so just grab my spatula or spoon here to help out a little bit. You could warm the jam up, but you don't really need to. If your biscuits are in your tray nice and, flat, then you really don't need to. I'm just using a silicone spatula, and as you can see, they are, covering really well. Just get a little bit out of that groove. I don't want it to burn on the bottom, but it doesn't stay in the oven long enough to burn on the bottom anyway. We're only going to put this in the oven long enough to melt the marshmallow and the chocolate so that it can become a cuttable, easy handling slice. We don't need to cook it per se. We're just going to basically, get it hot enough to glue together. It is an absolutely delicious slice, and there's so many variations that you can do. So don't, limit yourself to just what I'm doing here. Now I've got this big bag of marshmallows. Any will do. I just got some oh, sorry, you can't see. That was what they had at the shop when I went. So that's what I've got. And I'm just going to bust these and stick them on the jam like so. If you had a Pascal marshmallow, you might not need to do that. If you've got those big jumbo s'mores ones, you probably would need to cut them into maybe a couple. But you could just line these all up, but you don't need that much in there. You want it, it'll be too sweet, too cloyingly, because we're going to put chocolate on top as well. So, righty. Now, there are a couple of variations that we could do with this. We could put another layer of biscuits on the marshmallows and the chocolate on top. I haven't decided. I don't have enough biscuits to do another layer. So if I had my other tray, I would have had enough. That's the annoying part. But I will have a look in the pantry. I might have another biscuit that's a bit thinner. That's the right shape that might go on the top. So we'll just get these marshmallows on. Okay, doesn't take long, just basically ripping them open and stick them down. Kids would love to make this slice. It'd be so much fun for them. I mean, I don't know how much of the ingredients you'd have by the time it got ready to go in the oven, because they're notorious for eating more than they cook with. Okay, almost there. So busting these marshmallows was absolutely the longest part of this preparation. We've got them all on, and that's all looking good. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pop that in the oven for 4 or 5 minutes until they puff up, and then I'm going to bring it out and pop some chocolate on the top. So let's get that in the oven. Set the timer for 4 minutes. Okay, so I've popped that in the oven, and now I've just got some Cadbury dark chocolate melts. You could use whatever you've got. This is what I've got. And there's no need to measure them out, because you'll be able to see when I put them on the top of the slice that, it's the right amount. Okay, so you can see they're really squishy. I'm just going to squash them a little bit. I make sure that everything's sort of got a little bit of marshmallow if I can. Get it a bit even. Cover up, fill up any holes as well if I can. That's pretty good, it doesn't have to be perfect. And now I've got my chocolate, which, whoops, same thing, depends on the size of your tray and what you've got. So if I have to move a few around, I will. Now, but I don't, I'm just going to leave it like that. And as you can see, that chocolate just in the oven for, I think it was 3 minutes. And I just then let it set for 3, and it just spread over the top. That's now ready. We're just going to put that aside to cool. Okay, I've got a pan here. I'm going to show you some history. Look at the thousands and thousands of cut marks on this pan. This was one of Olive's pan that she gave me a few years ago, and I use it all the time. She must have made so many things in this pan over the years. I have a couple from her, and I just absolutely love them. All right, so now we're about to do our sort of Easter rocky road slice. No bowl, no mixing, no dishes, measuring cup, a line tray and an oven, and that's it. And so first off I have here is just got some salted nuts. If you have a nut allergy, obviously, or someone does, you're not supposed to leave it out. And I'm just going to measure it out about, this is a bit bigger than I normally make it in. So I'll just show you whether I need to add a half a cup. Just put down that paper. So we're not going for fully covered, we're going for even. Like every bite gets a bit of peanut sort of thing, but not, you know, overwhelmingly, just nuts. All right, I don't think the light's that great there today, sorry. And then I'm just going to move this across a little bit. We've got some Allen's ripe raspberries. And I have a cup of them in that bag. And I don't think I'm going to cut these up. I think I'm going to put them in whole. Same thing. So we're going to use a full cup. Whoops. Okay, so we'll go in with a cup of coconut, same thing. We want it to be even. We don't want it to be, you know, big lumps in spots, and just try and spread it around the best you can, because this is your absorption layer, which helps everything stick together. So just quickly go in with another half. Just try not to leave any edges bare, because that bit of the slice will be really hard to sort of, you know, handle and cut and whatever. So that's our coconut. Right. Now I've got about a cup of Allen's ripe raspberries, and I'm just going to pop them around. And I can tell you now, as much as I love this slice, my poor old tummy at the moment will not be having any Easter treats at all. But it's still nice to make it for the other people that can enjoy it. So, and as you can see, you don't think a cup's going to go very far, but once you start sort of, you know, getting them around, you realise that it really is enough. I mean, you don't have to be as specific placing them. I'll just turn that oven off. Okay, we've got our nuts, coconut and our raspberries. And I also want to add in some marshmallows. I am going to have to pull these apart because they, you know, they are too big, but I'm just going to rip them like so. Just pull them in half and drop them in. Just like so. Okay, so that's our marshmallow. I think that that's plenty. And I'm going to pop in some chocolate with Rocky Road. So I'll use the rest of this pack. But I have, because it's Easter, I actually have a little bag of little tiny Easter eggs I thought would be cute. I think they're Easter eggs. They're called mini eggs. I've never actually eaten one, so we'll see. We still have to get a thing of condensed milk over the top of this. So we don't want to, you know, get too carried away, but I'm going to put those on the top. Okay. If if you need to just move a heavily densed sort of spot around, just do that. Don't panic though. So now I just have a can of condensed milk, and it's going to drip under my parchment paper. My parchment paper isn't big enough. Ooh, rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. Let's see if I can. Might be able to save that from doom. Just push it in a little bit. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. There's always a way to make it work, isn't there? Okay, so try and get that as evenly as possible over the slice, because we want that to be the glue for the coconut. And just like that, that's all done. Just get that all out. Okay. Alrighty, just move that away. And I'm just going to pop a couple of these on the top, as I said, just because it's Easter and I thought the family would like them. Oh, they're quite strange looking, aren't they? I thought they'd be a bright colour according to the packet, and they're not. So that's disappointing, but you know what? The kids will love it. They'll be fine. Not many varieties of colours in here though, really. Anyway, we've got enough, so I'm just filling in a spot that's missed out completely on, you know, one thing or another. And I'm going to put some foil on the top of this. Because this tin is shallow, I'm going to spray the foil. So if you've got a slice tin that's 1.5 inches high or whatever, you won't need to. But I'm just going to cover that for the first 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, so as you can see, these slices are so fast. They're so quick to make. They're just stress-free. And if you're really pumped for time this Easter, give yourself a break and make one of these slices. They both keep very, very well. The Rocky Road with the biscuit will go stale first, the biscuit, but I would just pop that in the fridge if you're somewhere hot, or keep it cool. And today is the Saturday before Easter in Australia, so I don't know what the date is. 11th, maybe? 11th of April, 12th, not sure. Anyway, it's a week and a day before Easter. So if you were to do that now and, you know, pop it aside, it'll be fine. But as you can see, you could do that Easter morning, Good Friday. It literally takes a couple of minutes. So there's no need to plan ahead with either of these. You can have them both done in 10 minutes. One will be cooked in, you know, 4 minutes for the marshmallows, 3 minutes to melt the chocolate. And the other one will need 12 to 15 minutes with the foil on, and then about 5 minutes just to brown the top. So, you know, you don't need to spend any time doing anything. You just need to make yourself a cup of tea and enjoy the fact that you found a shortcut. Okay, so that's my 2 slices done. Okay, guys, so that's our 2 slices. How fast were they? They are true lightning bakes, and I hope that you'll give at least one of them a go, but keep them, you know, somewhere up here for when you need something really quick and fast. If you've got to go somewhere and take a plate and you've forgotten, these slices are just fantastic. They keep really well. You know, you've got nothing to lose. But thanks for stopping by today. I've really enjoyed your company, and if you make these before Easter, pop something in the comments and let me know how they turned out, or what you think, or if you tried something different. I'd love to hear. Okay, take care, guys. Hope the world's treating you all kindly. Bye for now.